Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi, this is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So glad that you would join us today and listen to today's podcast. We're doing something a little different. So Heather, you want to share what we're talking about today?
We are going to pop open a conversation about how diffusers work.
Love it. Love it. All right. So tell us, how do diffusers work?
Well, we're going to give the non-complicated version because I think people feel like there's a lot more to it, but it's really not that complicated. So each diffuser has a little container well where you put the water. It has a water line, so it tells you what's the max water that you can add to it. You add your drops of oil based on how strong you want the scent to be, the size room that you're in, and then you put the lid on and you push a start button. Sometimes there's a couple of options of hours. I have a couple that you can choose 2 hours, 10 hours, or just constant streaming. Some of them have a light function, but you just turn on the option that you want. And there you go. You're diffusing oils.
I love it. So simple. Yeah. And I know people think it's complicated, but it really is that simple. So the one question I have after listening to you explain that is, how many drops of oils do you do? Do you do an entire bottle in the diffuser, or?
That would be a lot. So I would say that it really depends on the oil that I'm using. Some have a stronger scent than others. It depends on the size room that I'm diffusing in. And I would say that it ranges. I'm going to say my average is probably about 6 drops. I'm in the office right now. It's not a huge room and the dog is in here with me. So 4 drops feels a little bit more appropriate when I'm got in a closed space, door closed, and he's in here. But in an open room out in our living room, I would probably say that I would use anywhere from 6 to 8 drops, depending on the oil. We will diffuse abode quite often. It smells really nice and clean, but it's a strong scented oil in my opinion. So with that one, I can usually get away with just 4 drops even in the living room, and it's enough. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same as far as a number of drops. So like right now I've got 4 drops of Ravinsara, 2 drops of lime in my diffusers, and it smells perfect, delicious. It smells amazing. So I will say as well, a lot of recipes will give you exact number of drops that you want to get. And I will sometimes follow that and sometimes be like, oh, I want a little bit more of the minty smell or whatever, and add a little more. And then also sometimes just drops drop out of the bottle faster than you expect them to. So sometimes, that just happens.
Yes. Hopefully it's not a scenario it's like, oh, I really didn't want more mint. Now I need to add more wild orange. Oh no, I added too much again.
I normally just dump it out if it's too off. Although it's pretty rare that I have a combo that I don't like.
Same. In fact, I've even kind of blended some things before that I was just kind of trying to empty bottles and surprised that they worked out wonderfully.
Yeah. Totally done that.
Tell me what kind of diffuser you started off with. Did you start off using doTERRA diffusers?
I did not. So the very first diffuser I got was from Amazon, probably less than $20. And I did that really because of price, because doTERRA's for the most part are more than $20. Every now and then they've got specials. But yeah, I bought one off of Amazon, and it was a little plastic thing, and it worked great for like a few months before it didn't work great anymore. And I do think part of that is the fact that it was plastic, and probably not high quality plastic. And since pure oils will break down plastic, I assume that's part of why it stopped working. The second diffuser that I got, I actually did a little bit of research, still didn't want to invest a ton of money, but at the time I had started doing my doTERRA business. And so I actually bought in bulk a whole bunch of diffusers that had a pretty good rating. And then at the time I was giving them away to new members. So when they signed up as a member, they would get a diffuser. And those were definitely better, but still not ideal. Like I feel like it maybe lasted 6 months. And I think while I still had that diffuser, I finally bought a doTERRA diffuser, and the difference in quality was huge. And so at this point, I've got way too many probably diffusers and a huge variety. And yeah, doTERRA's diffusers are really, really good. And they're versatile too. So I know we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but let's jump to you. How about you? What type of diffusers have you used and what do you use now?
So same startup. I definitely started with Amazon diffusers. They were inexpensive. I can't say it looked the nicest, but it was just something to use. I didn't know what I was doing prior to starting with doTERRA. And it felt like it got gunked up really quickly. It served its purpose for a couple of months, but then it would be really hard to clean and it just didn't seem to work. And so I finally did switch to doTERRA diffuser, and there, you said, was a very big difference. And I'd never really equated the plastic part to it, but I think you're onto something there. I think the plastic that's used in the doTERRA diffusers is probably a much better grade plastic based on the fact that they know it's going to be interacting with the oils. And we have since slowly transitioned all of our diffusers to a variety of different doTERRA ones, depending on where it is in the house, what room it's in, how big I want it to be, things like that. But I am a sucker for new diffusers and really, really have to work hard not to just purchase every new diffuser that they bring out.
Same. So based on that, what is your favorite doTERRA diffuser?
So right now, my favorite doTERRA diffuser is the La Luz. It's a glass top one, and it's really, really sleek and modern and pretty. And I really like it. It's in our living room, but it's also the diffuser that I will not let the kids fill up, because if you drop that glass top, I'm not going to be happy.
Right.
So it looks the nicest, but I'm the only one, well, I guess my husband, I'm the only one that's really, filling it or doing anything with it. So I would say from a function standpoint, I really like the pedal. It's a fairly large diffuser, and so it goes into a bigger room, bedroom, and it will have a good scent to it, but it's sturdy. It feels durable. And so I like that one. The kids each have little brevies in their room. I don't know that the brevy is sold on doTERRA's site as a regular for sale diffuser. It always seems to come when they have a special where they're promoting it with an oil. And so I tend to get those specials. And so the kids each have a little brevy in their room, which is perfect size for their room. It's easy for them to manage. It doesn't hold as much water, so we don't need as many drops. And that works really well.
Yeah. Well, and the brevy is a perfect example, because when you were talking as far as quality, because when you were talking about it comes with specials, my brevy that I have in my living room, it was a Mother's Day special. And just based on where I was living, I've had it for at least 3 years, but I feel like it's 4 or 5 years old. And it's by far the diffuser I use most often, because it used to be in my home office. Now it's in the living room. And so it literally every day for like 4 or 5 years has been used. And it's crazy to think that compared to the original ones that we started with, the difference between them. So, and that's one of my favorites just because it's pretty. It was the Mother's Day one, so it has like rose gold on it. And
oh, nice.
I'm a sucker for stuff like that. So that's kind of fun too with those. They always make them look different and kind of themed. I think there was a Father's Day one last year, or was it Father's Day? I don't know. There was a navy blue one that, again, I was
pilot?
Really tempted. Oh, that's right. That was the pilot. Yeah.
I think every now and then they color the pilot, which the pilot is fun too, because it is one that you can charge with a USB, and then it doesn't need to be plugged in. So we've brought it outside with us. We've brought it in the car with us. So the pilot's really fun too. I think right now leadership is going on, and I saw that they have a champagne colored one that they are promoting, but I'm not going to get it. I have enough diffusers right now.
But maybe.
Yeah, well, you have one that I do plan on splurging on at some point. I just don't feel like justifying it right now. You have the Volo one, which looks like a marble top, and it's super pretty.
It's so pretty. Yeah. And it's heavy. It's really well made. And that one it runs for a really long time, and it's got tons of settings and ways to adjust it. I feel like it's maybe the most adjustable one, because it actually has a little turn dial, so you can really play around and make it exactly how you want it. And I love that one primarily because it's pretty. It works well as well, but it's just pretty. It goes well with the home decor. Ironically, the one that is my favorite diffuser, I think, is not pretty, but it works so good. It's the Dawn Aroma Humidifier. So it's a humidifier and a diffuser all in one. And so I know a lot of people think that you can put oils in regular humidifiers, but again, the quality of the plastic makes such a difference. And so this one, the steam that comes off of it is just amazing. We have it in our bedroom, especially in the winter. We've had it at certain points run for 2 days, like just based on how you set the settings. Like if you don't have it do constant and it, does it for a minute and then stops for a few minutes and does it again, it can last up to 2 days, which is just crazy.
Well, and there's also a little button on there that you can push that sets it as a max of 60% humidity. So once it reaches that amount of level of humidity in the room, it'll actually, I guess, prolong how often it's coming out to keep it at or below that 60%, which is kind of cool too, that it's able to do that.
Yeah, I bet that's how we had it run for 2 days, because we've done that a few times. We're like, this diffuser's crazy.
Yeah,
awesome.
It does hold a lot more water than the others. And I'm glad you brought that one up too, because I feel like that's one that seasonally we will just kind of have going in my son's room, who's always congested. It works really well. It holds a lot more water. So I do add more drops. If I have his other little diffuser going in the room, I'll put less in there, just knowing that something's still diffusing. I'll use it more strictly as a humidifier. But you can put, I think, up to 10 to 12 drops is what's recommended in that one. And I will say too, when I was pregnant, I had a sinus infection and couldn't be on any medications. And I lived next to a humidifier, and I wish I had this one where I could have had the oils in it too, because the humidifier was the only thing that like kept me open and feeling better. So if I would have had this, I would have really been much, much better. Yeah. Well, we like that one too. It is not as pretty as the others, like you mentioned. It's large and in charge gray, but it works really, really well for what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it works so well. And really, I don't know that I've ever seen a humidifier that was like, oh, that is really pretty.
Okay. Well, and on that note, every other humidifier that we've ever owned are weird shapes. They like either try to make them kid specific, or we've got like one that's kind of like shaped like a teardrop. That thing is so hard to empty all of the water out of when you want to clean it out. The Dawn is the cylinder shape. You simply dump the water, clean it out, refill, whatever. So much more straightforward. And so that is way better than the humidifiers from that standpoint too.
Yeah, good point. Well, and that leads to another question, cleaning the diffuser. So how often do you clean yours? How often do you intend to clean yours? Because those are different answers for me.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I think it's recommended to clean your diffusers once a month. I hope to clean my diffusers at least twice a year. And if I'm being honest, I think about cleaning it all the time. I empty it. I go to, little residual water in there from the previous diffusing time, empty it. I think I should clean this, but I'm in the middle of trying to refill it to go start diffusing, because clearly I'm in the middle of doing something else at the time. I'll do it next time. I never get around to cleaning them as often as I should. When I do is when I notice any sort of buildup inside there. And so if I notice buildup, I do clean it. But otherwise, twice a year is kind of my goal. The way I clean it is I empty all residual water out. I fill it up to that line with vinegar, white vinegar, and I run it for a few minutes with the white vinegar. I dump out the white vinegar, wipe out the basin with a dry paper towel, and I move on and start over again.
Yeah. So I also intend to do it monthly. I feel like I remember about once every 3 months. So,
yes, quarterly, you go.
Yeah. And whenever I do, I make sure to post it on Instagram stories, because I'm sure other people like me are forgetting. And every time somebody like comments like, oh, thanks for the reminder. So I clean mine a little differently. I actually do half water, half white vinegar. And then I run it for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then I wipe it down, like you said, with a dry clean cloth. But I also sometimes take a Q-tip and will kind of use that to get the crevices as well. But it's super simple. It's just hard to remember to do it.
Yes. That's what the diffuser needs. It needs a little like a filter button almost, how refrigerators do, where it like lights up like, hey, you haven't cleaned me in a couple of months.
Well, when we have our Bottle Poppin' podcast branded diffusers.
There you go. There you go. Self-cleaning function too. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. Okay. So final question. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite diffuser blend? Or just thing to diffuse?
Yeah. So I'm going to say that we rotate all of the time, but I'm going to say the most popular thing that we diffuse on a regular basis is Balance and Wild Orange. I am very pro Balance. My husband loves any wood oil, and my kids are all about Wild Orange. So it feels like it meets everybody's criteria. What about you?
So mine is actually kind of similar, but I love the fir oils, any of them really, mixed with grapefruit.
Yeah.
Like grapefruit oil is my favorite citrus oil to diffuse because it's kind of sweet and a little bit different. But that mixed with any fir oil is just amazing.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah. But like you, I change it up all the time. So, okay. Well, thank you guys for listening. I hope you learned something new, either to go to clean your diffuser or to go get a quality diffuser and how to fill it up. Wanted to remind you as well that every third Thursday of the month, we do have a free Zoom class. It's just 30 minutes. Jump on, ask us anything you want about oils, and we're there to serve and connect with you. So we'd love to have you join us. Go to bottlepoppinpodcast.com to register for that. That link is also in any of our social media, so feel free to register that way as well. And we really appreciate you listening to us. We hope that you are subscribed so that you don't ever miss the latest episode coming out. They come out every Friday, and we appreciate you taking the time to listen.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these Bottle Poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.